but what would they be able to provide you as value add on your side?
So, I get back to the question of why. So I have, I'll give you the best example. So next week, I will be back down at the university. So I have spoken to the senior graduating class at the School of Construction Management. Next week will be my 29th straight year. And I do it twice a year. So it's going to be class number 58.
Wow.
All right. Think about it. 58 different classes that started with Gen X. I went fully through Gen Y, and now I'm with Gen Z, right? Well, I will tell you now, one thing was constant, one thing changed. The constant was they were always 22 because they're graduating seniors and their age doesn't change. I'm getting older. So, that may influence some of the conversations we've had because when I started, I was 35 and I had jet black hair and no wrinkles and all that. And then at some point, I started to look like their father. I probably look like their grandfather now, but nonetheless, it was a difference in understanding about the world around us. So, what I think is important, and what I tell people is for me, is I don't pretend to think that I can understand the world that you're living through. A 25-year-old versus one that when I was 25, I didn't have things like school debt. I already owned a house. I was married already. A few years later, children and so forth. That's dramatically different today, right? And there's all kinds of different stressors that are going on around that. And so, I try and think, what can I understand about that? What can you offer me as a younger person with a different experience? It helps me answer the why in what I do, right? And I can read about it, but there's nothing more direct than a conversation, especially somewhere you can feel their emotion come through,
Yeah.
issues they're dealing with, and so forth. So to me, now if someone that you are trying to mentor with doesn't have that perspective or appreciation, maybe it's not the right relationship, right? And so, because I want to learn about you, and you want to get some information about me. If the exchange is really going to be good, we're really trying to understand each other, and then not a one-way street; it's a two-way street.
As the years go by, and you said one class after another class of graduates come through, have you found your approach of how you mentor different?
Yeah. So one thing changed. It's probably as I came out of Gen Y, moving into Gen Z. Now, some of it again was probably me, as I was younger and they kind of looked like their uncle or whatever. Um, most of my conversations were more technical. I was 35. I, had been in industry maybe 10 years more than them. And so, what I had to offer, because I wasn't as worldly yet by any means, right? So we talk about a project and a variety of elements of that. What I did find 10, 12 years ago was that this conversation about work-life balance became much more predominant in the
Yep.
discussions, right? Um, I grew up the baby boomers, if you will. We were like, whatever I'm not sleeping, I'm working. Right? There is no work-life balance, and we kind of maybe we reveled in that to a degree. I loved working every hour of the day and night. It was now, that's. But again, I had different stresses on me than are occurring today, and so to
Yep.
think that I should tell you to be like I was when I was 20 is just not even in the right perspective, because it's just the conditions are not the same. And so what I found is I used to have a bit more of a structured talk I do for a little bit, and then we get an open conversation. To give you a perspective, this is a workshop with 60 students. So, and if I'm lucky, I get a third of them to actually open up and talk. The other two-thirds are quiet, and I wish everybody would do that. And so what I do at the beginning of the class, I give them my background. I talk for about 20 minutes about my history, and this is what I want to do is talk about what you want to talk about. So I've got a whiteboard in front of me. I need about 30 questions, and you fire away at what you want to do, and I'll get questions about career advancement or um, ethical situations to be concerned about. But then all the other ones about career choices, about moving, about demands of an employer, a variety of things. And so I make that the agenda. And so it's become much more robust over the last 12 or so years, because the agenda is theirs, it's not mine,
Right.
right? And we're talking about exactly what they want to talk about. But it is a lot more skewed toward personal, work life, whole life discussions rather than just the technical aspect of construction management.
So if you were to use the word sharks as a metaphor for success, how is success like sharks?
You are always on the move. You are always moving with purpose and focus. You got to eat, you got to survive, you got to continue to go forward. Um, I don't know sharks enough to know whether they're only going to do what they're going to do by purpose and design, animalistic purposes, as opposed to just randomness. But I think there's just a drive, being bold at times when it needs to be, but always forward moving. Yeah, never stopping.
I see that. That's how success is like sharks.